Today we're in Johnson Valley, California. We're at the intersection of Old Woman Springs Road and Rattlesnake Canyon Road, and we're going to be doing Rattlesnake Canyon. Rattlesnake Canyon is an easy trail. It's about 12 miles long, starting from Highway 247, also known as Old Woman Springs Road. It's about 12 miles from the highway all the way up to the end of the canyon. Any stock Jeep or 4x4 truck should be able to do this run. There's a few sandy areas, a couple of slightly bumpy, rutted spots, but overall it's a very easy trail. We're going to give you a run through of the entire trail. We're going to show you every sandy spot, every rocky, bumpy spot, so you can get an idea of what you'll be getting into before you run this trail. Once you get up to the end of Rattlesnake Canyon, you can go a few places from there. It ends at the backside of Big Bear. So from there you can go over into Big Bear, you can cut across over to Pioneer Town, or you can just cruise around the roads in that backside area. There's a bunch of old cabins, a lot of interesting things to see. The first couple of miles of Rattlesnake Canyon are this flat dirt road. It basically leads up to the entrance of the canyon. It's a couple of miles from the highway. And once you get into the canyon, you really can't get lost because there's no way out. You can either go up toward Big Bear or back out toward the highway. But getting to where the canyon starts can be a little bit tricky. You got to make a couple of turns, and if you don't know where you're going, I suppose it can be kind of easy to miss. So we do have a GPS track file of this entire route. You can download that from the website, NotaRubicon.com. In the Trails section, there will be a link directly to the page with more info on this trail, as well as the free GPS file download in the information system of this video. One thing about the first couple miles of this dirt road is it is a well-maintained road, and that's because somebody lives up here. There's a ranch that we're going to be driving by to get to the trail, and this is the access to that rancher's property. So bear that in mind, that people do live up here, so please watch your speed. Don't drive like an idiot through here. There are signs posted up here with a speed limit, so just be courteous as you're going through this area, and keep the speed and the dust down until you get up into the canyon, and then you can do whatever you want. Most times of the year you will see cows and cattle free ranging or roaming or whatever it's called throughout the canyon. They are not wild cows. They're owned by the rancher or someone that lives up here, so don't harass them. If you don't see any in the canyon, you can see the ones that were here a few months ago just by going over to McDonald's. You'll find them there.
Did you hear the cow mooing at me?
Rattlesnake Canyon is a fairly well-traveled trail. You'll see some side-by-sides up in front of us. Pretty much any four-wheel truck can do Rattlesnake Canyon. There are a few spots, one or two, that can get washed out and can be a little bit challenging, but still most any 4x4 truck should make it through. If you're a new off-roader or your truck isn't equipped and is all stock, you might need a little spotting. Otherwise, it's flat and easy. There is some deep sandy areas, so airing down can be helpful, just so you don't get stuck as easily. We air down mostly just to smooth out the ride, but you don't have to air down your tires. Okay, we're making a left turn. And you could have gone a few yards further straight before making the left turn, and it's smoother. I made a left turn early and coming through the slightly harder way. It's still pretty easy. We're now heading back toward the mountains and basically just following the road. Like I said, it's fairly well maintained, it's well trafficked, well traveled, so it's kind of hard to miss. We are now entering the entrance to the actual canyon, so we are now officially inside of Rattlesnake Canyon. The trail follows the bottom of the canyon all the way climbing up toward Big Bear. You cannot really get lost. the road splits and veers a few different directions, a few different times, but it always meets back up basically in the middle, or any offshoots meet back up with the main road. Very difficult to get lost. Just head up and you'll end up in Big Bear, head down and you'll end up at the highway. There are a few interesting things to see along the way. Of course, there are the cows most times of the year. There's one or two old mines that you can check out. They're visible right from the road. And of course, most times of the year, it's fairly green and scenic. Okay, this spot that I'm passing right now, right to the right, about 50 yards from where this little canyon wall is, there's a natural spring over there. If you walk over there, you'll often find a bunch of cows. There's a little water trough for them to drink out of. Lots of shade trees. It's a nice little area. This is the area where the road starts to get a little sandy sometimes. Sometimes of the year, sometimes it's not that sandy. When it's at its worst, you might have to drop down into four-wheel drive. We actually got stuck in it once in two-wheel drive. It's kind of surprising, and did have to stop and just stick it into four-wheel drive, and we continued on. But sometimes we drive right through and it's more compacted and not an issue. A lot of this road and this section is heavily washboarded a lot of times of the year. That's one of the reasons why we air down, just to smooth out that ride. If you were to try to go over these washboarded roads and these whoop-de-doos with 35 psi in your tires, they'd rattle your teeth out. We've been driving about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and the canyon's starting to narrow quite a bit now. So we're going to start coming up on a couple of the more challenging areas. Alright, now we're getting to the first sort of bumpy area. There's water running through here a lot of times of the year. There's a little stream trickling down right now. A little bumpy, a little rocky, but I'm still in two-wheel drive. It's not bad. It gets worse before it gets better, but not much worse. If you come down here after a rain, this little stream can be really a raging stream. I wouldn't want to be around here when it was raining hard. It would not be a safe place to be, but just be aware that after the rainy season, there's a lot of water coming down, and there's a lot of standing water and mud puddles to get through. The last time we came, those puddles were very stagnant and stinky. That's why I point them out. So roll up your window before you go flying through. Otherwise you get a mouthful of stink. All right, we're at another split in the road. The road goes forward, flat and easy, and I'm going to turn left just a little bit before that, and there's a kind of an extra credit rocky section that's really not that hard, but if you were to continue straight 20 more yards and curve around, it's flatter and easier. So this is one of the very easy extra credit sections that we're on right now. Where I'm turning left, it's a little bit bumpy. I think everybody would be fine, but there's a couple small rocks to get over. If you continue straight just a few feet ahead and go left there, it's a little smoother and easier, I think. And this little spot's 100 yards long or so, just a couple little rocks to get over. There's a little more water here, so it's making it a little more slippery. Nothing major. Just enough to keep it interesting. Okay, this spot is a little more washed out than the last time we were here. There's some rocks you gotta kinda get over or around. Not a big deal. Go right over them. Another little rocky, ooh, pretty washed out spot. Last time we came through here, this was actually worse than it is today. We needed some spotters here. But as you can see, not that rough. I think the water washed down a bunch of sand and filled it in, because it was worse when we were here last summer. Alright, this is another little tough spot. Looks like it's pretty well opened up around the right hand side of the rocks. So I'll just go over the rock. You can't see it, I don't think. I'll get out and film Mrs. NotaRubicon going over it. Well, we're about 3/4 of the way through. It's been a couple of hours now that we've been driving. Hour and a half. And it's about 95 degrees, which brings up another thing to remember. Always check the weather where you're going, not only where you're starting, but where you're planning to end. Now, we knew it was going to be hot today, so we brought plenty of water, 3 times more water than we would plan to ever use, plus extra emergency water that's always in the Jeep. We dressed appropriately because it's hotter than heck, but we also have jackets and blankets so that if we should get stranded here overnight, the worst case scenario, we wouldn't freeze to death. It probably won't get down to freezing here where we're at now tonight, but if we were up at the top on the backside of Big Bear, it's considerably cooler up there and it could get pretty chilly at night. So always be prepared, be over-prepared, bring more water than you need, plan on more than you think you could ever use, and have jackets and clothes that are different, opposite of the weather that you dress for. We're wearing shorts and t-shirts, and we also have jackets and blankets in the Jeep, just in case. You'll probably never need them, and I tell you, it's better to have them and not need them than to need them that one time and not have them. Alright, off to my left there is the entrance to the Motina Wash off-road trail. That runs up about 2 miles, meets up at the backside of Big Bear, not far from where we're going. Check the GPS coordinates. If you ever want to see what a real hardcore off-roading Jeep trail looks like, walk up there about 100 yards and take a look, and you'll see what the big boys do for fun. That is a rough trail. We've done it many times. We've got videos. If you search our YouTube channel for Motina Wash, that is a tough trail. And there you have it. That is all the highlights of Rattlesnake Canyon. As you can see, it wasn't too difficult. A couple of rough spots that we had to slow down at. If you're new to off-roading, you might have needed some spotting over some of those sections. There was a big Ford F-150 truck behind us that joined us at the end of our group, and he made it through just fine. Got hung up on one of those bigger rocks that we just went over, but he made it fine. You can download the entire GPS track file of this trail from our website, NotaRubicon.com. There will be a link at the information section of the video to take you right to that page. If you have any questions about this trail, leave a comment below and we'll do our best to answer. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you don't miss any more exciting trail videos. Thank you for watching.